Black people from around the world. My dark skin experience around the world will differ from your light skin and your brown skin experience around the world. I don't care if you've never experienced horrible treatment in Bali, Indonesia. I don't care about that. All I care is that I went to Bali and I had the worst experience ever.
Hello everyone, I'm Cerebral and this is Cerebral Talks TV. I had to share this video with you because I think that it's a very good discussion. It's a good topic because it's something that is not often discussed that much. I actually was following her on TikTok for a while. She's very beautiful and she travels the world, but she shares her experience as a dark-skinned Black woman. And she points that out because she says her experience, while she may be Black like you, she is of a darker hue than you. And her experiences will not always be the same as yours when you travel. Sure, you might be Black, but you are not dark skin. You are a light skin. You are a brown skin. You are not deeply hued, is what she says. And that you don't go through all of what she goes through when she travels in countries that are anti-Black, aka anti-dark skin, the real deal dark skin. You know, a lot of Black people, see, they're coming under her video and places they have gone to that she has gone to and said she will never visit again because of how she was stared at like a science project and disrespected. Black people are coming under her videos telling her, no, it's not racism there. Oh, you're just saying this and that. And she has to keep reminding them, you might be Black like me, but you are not dark like me in places that are very anti-dark skin. You see, you might think you're brown skin. Well, I'm Black, but your brown skin is not, it's an acceptable brown skin. You might be the color of the people that's their darker people where they come from, but their people are not as dark as her. You get what I'm saying? Your version of dark is not actually dark at all. It's just maybe in another country, okay, oh, we have people your color, but their people are either very pale or a medium brown is the darkest it can get some places versus her complexion. So it's really the darker the skin, the worse it can get in other countries that are colorist and other countries. But also I think the more Negroid your features get, the worse it can get too. In some cases, I'll give you an example before I play her video. I've seen Black women go to India who are the same skin complexion as some of the Indians, and Indians are staring them down, taking photos, acting in complete amazement that they're seeing a Black woman, no matter where she's from. And Black people will be in the comment section saying, I don't understand. They're the same color. Black people live by color. Indian people know you're not Indian. You have a completely different phenotype and hair texture. You don't look like their people. There might be a little bit of sun resemblances sometimes, but if they can spot you out in the crowd and stare at you, it's because you don't look like them. It doesn't matter because you're the same color. They live somewhere where a lot of people are the same color, but they have a dominant look within their people, and you don't look like their people, so you are an outsider. That's why they do the staring despite having the same doggone skin tone, because they don't live. I mean, India is known to being very colorist over there, but Black people have this thing where you think someone's like you because you just happen to have the same skin tone, yet you look nothing alike all the time. Sometimes you do, but the hair might be different, and that's the thing that stands out. Oh, your hair is completely different from ours, type of thing. Curly or kinky, whatever, not bone straight like an Indian. They can tell, and if they can tell, respect that. I'm not saying that they should stare at you like a science project, and they don't all do that at all. But, I mean, sometimes they want the autograph. They think you're a superstar and all this other stuff. But just get into reality. Skin tone does not mean you and a person look the same. Phenotype is how people can tell differences. And hair texture sometimes, okay? Even if, there's different hair textures within the black race and everything. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So no one can sit up here and tell this woman her own experiences. She mentioned going to Bali, which so many black people love Bali. She says she'll never go there again. What happened to her? And they were upset about it because Bali is known to be so peace and loving. Well, not towards her. That was her experience as a dark-skinned black woman. Okay, you might go to Egypt. There was a black Sudanese woman on TikTok recorded the staring, a woman getting angry seeing her, all that she went through, her phenotype different and her skin color much darker. And there were black people saying, I go to Egypt, I have no problems. She had to keep saying, you're not Sudanese, you're not dark like me, you don't look like me. It's not the same, okay? You might go to Egypt and they look like your damn cousins because you're mixed up and stuff. You can look like relatives and stuff. Or you have an acceptable color because your color is over there. If you are much darker like these women, that's the true African to a number of people. And they have issues with that in some countries. You're not having the same experiences. And it's okay to be honest about that. But shame on anybody that would tell her what she's gone through. You can't tell her what she's gone through in countries that absolutely despise the skin getting as dark as possible. You know, just because light and brown skin might be in other countries, they don't have their people as dark as her. And they're anti that in many countries. That's not always the case. She's been plenty of places where no black people were that they absolutely loved her, like Iceland. But there have been other places that she said, I'll never go to again. She didn't feel safe. She wasn't welcome. And you can't sit here and tell her that. It doesn't matter. Yes, she is beautiful. Everyone tells her she's beautiful. She is. But when you have countries that's very color conscious and very anti-dark skin, the darkest you can get, you can't tell her what she's been through. So with that said, let's look at her video and some of the things she has to say.
Black people from around the world. My dark skin experience around the world will differ from your light skin and your brown skin experience around the world. I don't care if you've never experienced horrible treatment in Bali, Indonesia. I don't care about that. All I care is that I went to Bali and I had the worst experience ever. It's one of my least favorite places that I've ever visited. Okay? There are some people around the world that will look at my deep, rich complexion and equate it to dirt, and equate it to dirty, equate it to poor, and result in ignorance. And I think the Black community should be a bit more understanding on that. You shouldn't be having to fight me in my comment section saying, oh, this is not true. This is not what I experienced. I don't care. Do you see? I've yet to see somebody, my skin complexion, comment that they haven't experienced whatever, a bad treatment in Bali. I have yet to hear that. We are different. People are colorist. And honestly, you would think people in the Black community would do better in understanding, but no, they don't. They don't. But this is why I come on TikTok, I go on Instagram, and share my experiences around the world, especially for people who are my skin complexion or darker, because they deserve to know how I was treated, and I have the right to share my experiences around the world. Bye.
And I totally agree with her. You know, I think that is ignorant to not understand why she mentions as a dark-skinned woman in this country. Because, again, just because we all identify as Black does not mean we will all have the same experience at all. You know, that's just a fact. It's just a fact. Even in the United States, you know, you might go to a certain state where there's a certain ethnic group that treats you terrible, that stares at you, versus somebody in a different state that's diverse. They're like, I've never had problems with these people, but you're not from where I'm from. They're not the same everywhere. People are different. You get what I'm saying? Or again, just because we're Black, you're not as dark as her. You can't tell her experience in countries that their main lotions and soap all is for skin bleaching, and they would never want to be dark. And they have issues with their own people who are not even dark like her, and she's much darker. So you can't speak for her and tell her that just because, well, I didn't go through it in Egypt, I didn't go through it in Bali, but you're not her, and you're not her skin tone. So all right, so let's see a little bit more of things she's saying in other videos as well.
Majority of my posts that go viral are when I'm talking about ignorance in certain countries or racism in certain countries that I've been to, right? But when I do talk about the amazing experiences I've had around the world, it rarely goes viral. So when I do talk about this experience and people see it often, they think I'm race baiting or, just always talking about my negative experiences. But the fact of the matter is, no matter how nice, no matter how kind or respectful you are, there are people who will actually continue to just be racist and just be rude and disrespectful for no reason. So it does not mean that it's a me problem. It is either you problem or a them problem. I go into people's countries with the utmost respect. If I'm going to a predominantly conservative Muslim country, I'm going to dress modestly. I'm going to respect their practices. I don't go in with an attitude. It is just crazy what TikTok does with my posts. It just doesn't make sense because I always boast about the countries that I go to. And one thing I will always and continuously do is tell people about my experiences in every country. I don't care if it's negative. I don't care if it's positive. I will continue to post it. It doesn't matter. It will be posted. Countries outside of Africa that I felt most respected as a dark-skinned solo female traveler. Number 1, Iceland. I've been to Iceland 3 times, and I talk about Iceland all the time. If you go through my page, you just know Iceland is gonna be there. I absolutely love Iceland. The people are respectful, they're very unbothered, and it's just beautiful landscapes. Number 2 would be Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. Specific to Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. No, not anywhere else in Guatemala, Lake Atitlan. Though the Mayan people in Lake Atitlan, very respectful, very kind. I felt very comfortable in Lake Atitlan. Number three would be Jordan. I am obsessed with Jordan. I'm obsessed with Jordan. The people there are just so kind, so welcoming, so hospitable, top of the line. I will definitely be going back to Jordan. I just came from my trip from Jordan, and I was actually very sad leaving the airport. So these are the 3 countries that I would recommend if you are a dark-skinned woman looking to travel to countries that are outside of Africa or outside of the Caribbean. I made it to country number 30. Jordan has always been on my bucket list, so here's my 2-night, 3-day itinerary for the city of Amman. What you're gonna do is check into the W in Amman for spectacular views. They have an amazing rooftop pool and they're close to the mall. And of course, on my first day, I had to do a food tour. Booked this tour on Airbnb. I just find Airbnb experiences to have the best local tour. I roamed the city with my tour guide Miri, who not only took me to the best local spot, but also explained the history of the city of Amman. Now, for those of you who don't know, the city of Amman is very diverse. About 70% of the population in Jordan are Palestinian, with the rest being from the Middle East and Africa. Now, seeing the fusion amongst all these cultures was just beautiful. The food on this tour was spectacular, but my favorite was the kanaf, which is a traditional Middle Eastern pastry. And for day 2, you're gonna book your tour with Allah. He took us on a unique tour throughout the city, hitting some important historical sites such as the mosque. We gowned up, of course, and saw this mosque that was made to perfection. One thing I love about city tours is the fact that you get to roam the street. And the streets of Amman were filled with beautiful murals, and of course some of the friendliest cats. Amman is one of the world's oldest cities and one of the safest cities in the Middle East. One thing I didn't know is that Jordan has a king who has a significant role in the country's political, social, and cultural life. It was interesting to see the king's pictures everywhere. On the same night, I decided to take myself out to this popular restaurant, Hookahbaz. The lamb, the drinks, the tea, spectacular. And tell me why I got to the hotel. They said, "Ma'am, there's a leak in your room. We're gonna have to upgrade you." I said, "Fine, give me 14 of them." Stay tuned for day 3 on my journey to Petra, wonder of the world.
Okay, so that is her video, and I have to say, she is so beautiful, and I love to see her travel. I love watching videos, seeing Black women go to places where people always used to say, oh, you shouldn't go there, this and that, and they go and they have a wonderful time, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. She always looks luxurious when she goes out, and it's a really great thing to see, but it's a sad reality of our world still that there are places that are ignorant, that judge people based on skin complexion or your phenotypes or your hair texture or your ethnic group or your religious affiliation. All these things happen and it's ignorant and it's a sad thing. I also noticed how she said that when she posts negative videos about her experience, it goes more viral. But when she shows the places that are welcoming and loving towards her, it doesn't go viral. And we all know what that's about. And it's absolutely disgusting to me. It's disgusting. You know, Black women, I don't like that, you know, only bad stories of Black women in horror and depression and mistreatment is what people get to see. It gets pushed versus a Black woman thriving and living her best life. I mean, I see it sometimes, but it's very powerful. It's very powerful to show those places that's embracing her, and if you're very dark skinned, embracing you and showing more love and everything that's going on around the world. So she's always traveling, living her best life. She's not letting fear and stereotypes stop her, but she finds out for herself when she goes these places, what is it like? Are they welcoming? Do they have issues with skin complexion? All these different things, and she's always living her best life. I always wanted to go to Iceland. That's on my bucket list, and she says she's been there about 3 times. How wonderful it is. I totally want to go too. So that's it for this video. Basically, your experience as a Black person might vary from another Black person depending on how anti-dark skin the country is. Or even in some cases, as a Black American, I've heard plenty of times that there are countries that's welcoming versus someone straight up from Africa and they can tell they're African and stuff. Like, the treatment is completely different. You know, you get treated different just based on being American. You know, they see you as American versus someone from Africa they totally look down on, and the treatment is completely different because they're from Africa, you know. And those things happen, and it's, you know, this is the part of the world so far. Hopefully it will change, but these are real things. So people need to stop going under her videos telling her that, oh, she's race baiting. Oh, you're lying. I went there and I didn't have a problem. I went there. Yeah, you did, but you're not her. And you don't look like her. She's beautiful and you're beautiful, but her skin is much darker. And, you know, your version of dark skin ain't actually dark skin in comparison to her and in another country. You get what I'm saying? So be respectful. And I'm going to leave her TikTok page as the first comment so you can check out her page and her video. Okay, so that's it for this video, everybody. I will be reading the comments section. Be respectful. And I thank you all for joining me. Please get those likes up. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll be talking to you again soon. Bye, everybody.